You are watching a master at work.
Hi guys, it's Lupe from the Lupe Experience with a fun video today. It is my starting lineup of fragrances for 2014. So without further ado, let's get into it. For my signature fragrances, I really have to give a lot of credit to the House of Sergioff for running home with one of the most desired spots in this starting lineup. For the warmer weather, I reached a lot for Neo. Neo is a fragrance that is perfect for every and any occasion. It's a fragrance that I could wear to work confidently, I could wear out partying, I could wear on dates as well, and I could wear to upscale events and it would still kill the game. This is one of the best fragrances in the entire world, in my opinion, and it's a holy grail of fragrances when it comes to fresh fragrances. It's a fragrance that's rich in bergamot, jasmine, vetiver, spices, very complex. I have a review on it, so please check that out if you want to know more about this holy grail fragrance. Next up, for colder weather, it's Uden from Sergioff, and Uden is a marine fougere or a citrus aromatic fougere, and it's just a beautiful spicy fragrance that has fresh notes to balance it out. I also have a review for this and you should check that out. Uden has been my signature fragrance for the colder months, has worked well in every single position. It's a fragrance I can wear and still feel like I'll be taken seriously, but it's a fragrance that I can wear and party the night away. Next in line come two fragrances that I have reached for in casual situations. For warmer weather, I reached a lot for Neroli Portofino, and this is an aquatic fragrance with a lot of class and a lot of sophistication. A luxurious aquatic fragrance. It's fresh out the shower clean, smells like luxurious soap suds. This is a beautiful fragrance that has great performance to boot. I cannot, talk highly enough about this fragrance, and it's just so easy to wear and so pleasant. Obviously, I have it in 100 ml, and I will always have it in 100 ml because it's just something that I splash on when I just want to go out and just take it easy. And it's a fragrance that really goes well with a t-shirt and jeans, just casual wear. And for the winter, although this is quite a luxurious, sophisticated fragrance, it's one that I do enjoy wearing in casual situations. It's a fougere, very easy to wear, but it still does have a little bit of flash to it. But it's just one that I enjoy wearing in laid-back situations. It's really hard to find dressed down fragrances when it comes to colder weather because citrus fragrances tend to go better with t-shirt and jeans, but this one has fit the bill when it comes to that position. So those are my two fragrances for casual: Neroli Portofino and Reflection Man from Amouage. Next up on our list, we have two fragrances in this starting lineup that I have reached for when it comes to suit and tie work situations. For warmer weather, I reached for Vetiver from Roja Perfumes quite a bit, and for colder weather, I reached for Tuscan Leather from the Tom Ford Private Blends collection. And these are two ultra masculine, serious power fragrances. Roja Vetiver is a smoky vetiver with bergamot to give some greenness and just a slight freshness. And Tuscan Leather is a leathery fragrance with a smoky undertone and some animalic nuance to it. But they really both come up very sophisticated, very masculine, quite serious, and they are very sexy. These are two fragrances that women really enjoy on men. and it's because they smell powerful. These are fragrances that you want to wear with three-piece suits. These are fragrances that you want to wear with a double-breasted suit with pinstripes and exude power and sophistication. Two fragrances that I reached for a lot when it came to working situations. When it came to smelling sexy and seductive on a date night, I reached for two fragrances that are in my top 5 fragrances of all time. I reached for Noir de Noir in the warmer months. On those cool nights, this fragrance that smells like roses, red wine, and chocolates really made me feel powerful, really made me feel in control, and really did an incredible job. And for those cold, wintry nights, I reached for Killian's Back to Life, which is a very cozy fragrance that is rich in honey, tobacco, cherries, raspberries, chamomile, cinnamon. Quite complex, but the notes all come together to really smell like honey. And it has a soft, powdery undertone to it, and it's a beautiful fragrance. This is my #1 fragrance of all time, and I absolutely love it. Very dark, very, very seductive. Back to Black and Noir de Noir were my 2 go-to fragrances for dates and seductive occasions. When it comes to night outs, you want fragrances that are, gonna get out there, get attention. They can be bolder, they can project more, they can be more celebratory. And so these 2 fragrances are my favorites this year for doing just that. In the warmer weather, I went with Killian's Forbidden Games, and I have it in 2 travel size formats, so to speak. This is, it's coiled up snake around an atomizer, and this is a magnetic cap atomizer. And I love this one because you can easily tuck this into your jacket pocket and you have no problems refreshing if you're staying out super late or whatever. But this one is one of my most complimented fragrances of all time. I'll probably say it's only second to Neo by Xerjoff. And boy, when it's time to party the night away, this does the absolute deed. This does the good deed, so to speak. It's rich in honey, peaches, jasmine, and opoponaut. Opoponaut is a creamy, sweet incense note. And as you can imagine, those delicious, delectable notes really do a good job of getting people's attention and really standing out from the crowd. While other people are wearing the 1 Million and Le Mans and quite ordinary fragrances, the usual suspects, which smell good but are quite common, you can really stand out from the crowd wearing this superstar. And in the winter months, I went with Rose Derby. It's a rose oud combination, and the rose oud combination is a classic composition in fragrances. I love, love, love my rose ouds, and this is one of the absolute best. It is sweet, it is quite creamy with a lot of vanilla in it, but it has a lot of Turkish rose and that Middle Eastern oud. So it really does smell exotic, but quite pleasant at the same time. There's a fragrance from Xerjoff called More Than Words, which has its fair share of fans, but this is a fragrance that it copied, and in my opinion, this fragrance is definitely a lot better because it really has that oud that gives it that exotic Middle Eastern twist to it, and it just smells a lot more sophisticated and less candified. Great fragrance, and one that I loved reaching for during the winter months. I've used quite a bit of this 100ml bottle. Next up are 2 fragrances that I reached for in upscale situations. Now, let's start with my winter selection. It's Amber Out from Roja Parfums, and this is an oud-based fragrance. It is a rose oud combination, but it really does have a lot going for it. It has a gourmand twist to it. There's a fruity pastry undertone, and it also has a boozy nature to it as well, with that sort of dank and stank oud, so to speak, to give it that Middle Eastern feel. This is one of the most expensive fragrances that you can purchase in the entire world. Comes with an exorbitant price tag, and it just smells as luxurious as the bloated, in my opinion, price tag. It's a fragrance that I have worn for several special occasions, and one that I'm pretty sure I will continue to reach for a very long time. Now, for my summertime warm weather upscale fragrance, it's very hard to find one because citrus notes are more associated with casual wear. When you see someone in t-shirt and jeans, you're thinking, your aquatic, fresh, light blue fragrances. They can smell mundane, they can smell cheap. So it's really hard to find a fragrance that's luxurious and opulent and works for really hot weather. And this is a fragrance that absolutely does the trick. It is Roja Parfums Bergamot. And what Roja has done is to take bergamot, jasmine, lavender, oak moss, and use the absolute best ingredients in the world so that the vividness and the authenticity of the notes really portray that image of luxury. This is a very sexy fragrance. It doesn't last a very long time, so I find that I have to refresh if I'm going to be at any sort of occasion that takes a long time. But I'm telling you, in terms of smell, this is probably the most luxurious smelling fresh fragrance in the world, along with Neo, of course, and that's why Neo is my selection for my signature scent, because it also does the same job. It's pretty hard to find luxurious, fresh fragrances. Roja Parfums Bergamot is one of them and has been my top selection for this year. For fragrances that are more daring and risque, it's hard to find one for the summertime. It's hard to find a fresh fragrance that's exotic and quite unusual and has any sort of risk factor to it. They tend to be people pleasers. So the fragrances that I have reached for this year, regardless of weather, have been Absolute Pour le Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian and Amber Absolute from the Tom Ford Private Weddings collection. And these two fragrances, they do have a lot of similarities. They've got this honeyed incense, sort of sweet, sour nature to them. Amber Absolute, although very unique, is more of a people pleaser than Absolute Pour le Soir, which can absolutely turn some people off. This is definitely a very risky fragrance, but they're two fragrances that are very unique, and two fragrances that have, really caught people off guard whenever I have worn them. And so those are my two risque fragrances. So there you have it, guys, my starting lineup of fragrances for the year 2014. I am glad that I was able to share this with you guys. Tell me what you think of these fragrances. Tell me, what is your starting lineup of fragrances for the year 2014? And as usual, you have to smell out.